Warning: the following presentation may contain flashing images. Flashes of inspiration and sparks of creativity are inevitable.
With each new day, you will awaken to a world of possibilities, a world of creative moments. In fact, during that waking day, you'll make about 35,000 decisions. That's about a decision every 1.5 seconds. Those moments are creative intersections where you can make something new. At the end of the day, when your brain is resting and you're not conscious of it anymore, it will renew. Welcome to this session. There'll be little surprises around every corner, but nothing is dangerous. So sit back, enjoy, and participate in the activities that we have. The first question I'd like to ask you is, what does it mean to be a creative? Now, I'm not talking about being creative or being a creator, but to be creative. Well, I've already established the fact that you'll make 35,000 decisions today, and in that time you'll have an opportunity to make creative choices. From the work that you do, you will be making decisions that will collaborate with others. You may be expressing yourself artistically in a myriad of different forms. You will be intersecting or engaging people from around the world through electronic basis, maybe online meetings. Perhaps your skill set is in design or art of some sort. Perhaps music. Perhaps just the choices of music that you make that set the mood and the tone for your day. There will be other activities that you will do that will cause you to be working with other people, that you will be working with their creative capacity. Expression of arts, color, the design of systems, all of these decision-making processes that you're going to be making are creative moments. So what does it mean to be a creative? It means that you create, even in the most, perhaps what appears minute or insignificant decisions that you make, have a creative element to them. It's built into who we are to create. It's something that we do instinctively when we create new moments, we create new decisions, or we create something to show other people. Now, we live in a world of uncertainty at the moment. We're just not certain what's going to be happening next day to the next. The choices that we make in this world of uncertainty enable us to have a foundation for our purpose. It gives us a meaning. So despite the fact that there's things that are in flux all the time around us, we can have a certainty about what our role in this life is. Uncertainty can also lead to adversity, the challenges that we face. Adversity becomes a facilitator, if you would, for our creative energies. It enables us to be able to use the challenges that we set before us to make decisions that will create new things, new opportunities, differences. Adversity under uncertainty can be a good thing. But to maintain a healthy balance in our life, we need certainty. We need something we can hold on to that says, this is who I am, and this is the life that I have at the moment, and I have to make decisions based upon things I know are going to be true. That is the certainty that we all look for. Like the rising of the sun. the certainty that I'd like to propose to you is that you are a creative. You are a creative being. What you do, how you do it, that establishes you as a creative. Now, if you want to be a creator, somebody who creates things, you have to demonstrate that in some way. There has to be some outward manifestation to be you, to identify you as a creator. But as a creative, the process of creation is going on through your brain all of the time, creating new opportunities, new systems, new whatever it is that you happen to do. That is you. It's built into who you are as a person. At the core of your being is that creative capacity that says, I am going to make a mark in this world. And the way I do it is by my unique stamp of personality, talents, skill sets, all of those things combined, plus the experiences of other people that intersect with you, make you that creative. You are a creative in everything that you do. Now, what does it take to be a creative? Well, like the building of a star has certain elements that make it burn brightly. To be a creator, or to be a creative, is to be using all of the elements that you have available to you to express that creativity. Now, there's 7 qualities of the creative process, and each one of those can be translated into actions. To activate those, you can just nudge it along, and you will see those activated qualities visible, like seeing, tell, the way you communicate, to flow means how you synergize or you create flow in your life. Play, the ability to explore and to try new things. How you feel, the emotional state that you're in about the world that you are experiencing. Be, those values that establish who you are and don't change easily. Do, the actual act of creation comes in doing. Now, I'm not going to sit back and tell you how to do things, but I want you to look at how you see. Seeing, it generally is received like in the 5 senses. In our consciousness, we take in at about 11 megabytes per second through our visual ability. And our touch, we take in about 1 megabyte per second for our conscious capacity. When it comes to hearing, we take in about 100 kilobytes per second. Our smell, 100 kilobytes per second. And our taste at 1 kilobyte per second. Altogether, that's about 12.2 megabytes per second of data that we take in consciously around us. What does that mean? Well, we stream or upload about 18 megabytes per second. So I'm going to do an activity with you right now. For the next 60 seconds, I'm going to show you some images. Those images are just images. But what do you see? The purpose of that activity was to demonstrate that we all see things pretty much about the same. It's how we interpret those, and it applies to all five senses. So while we may see things, or feel things, touch things, hear things, smell things, taste things, what we're really hoping to achieve in seeing is understanding. That is our individual interpretation of the world around us, how we understand things. So what we really want to achieve is understanding that level of see. Then we have to be able to communicate that out. So that's how you tell. A few years ago, during a speaking class, I had a protege who asked me if she could do her icebreaker with an introduction through interpretive dance. I said, by all means, go ahead and do that. That would be unusual and also really acceptable. And she did it, and all of us to this day remember her introduction in that speech class. How we communicate, or how we tell, is a unique quality that we carry. We can demonstrate that in a number of different ways. We can tell a story through our art. We can tell a story through numbers and through reports. We can tell stories through so many different ways. How you tell is perhaps a unique quality to you. Now, you may have been to meetings where people say, oh, it's the same old thing all the time. That's because perhaps in that culture that you're in, that is the way we communicate with one another. The thing is that with how you tell can be unique to you. And that's how you're remembered. If you want to be remembered in this world that you live in, you need to tell a narrative or tell the message that you want to send in a way that identifies it as you. So how you tell is important for your ability to be remembered. Everybody has the same basic or fundamental processes for communication. We all are starting off as a sender. We want to communicate something. How we communicate it can be through our art or words or however we do it. And then you have a message. That message is communicated to somebody else who we'll call a receiver. Once that receiver has decoded what you've said, they will give you some form of feedback. And that process continues. Sender, feedback, receiver, message goes back, and the cycle continues. That is a communication loop. And how is that expressed when you want to make an impression? Well, this is about how you tell. In a communication loop or in a communication scenario like we have with this couple, a lot of things are being communicated that are both nonverbal and environmental. How many things can you identify in this scenario that communicate something? See, when it comes to communication, we can be deliberate in the impressions that we make. We are going to make an impression in the people that we meet, in the people that we work with, the people that we are trying to build relationships with. How you communicate the message that you have, the person that you are, is important in making that impression. It will be interpreted in a number of different ways. How you tell or communicate is a reflection of you. You can use it wisely to achieve your goals, develop authenticity, develop trust. The values that you embrace, the values that you hold, will be communicated one way or the other. How you flow is an interesting topic for us to discuss. Usually when I'm talking about flow, it's about bringing in ideas from external sources, and how we pull those into our own thinking. But today, I'd like to talk to you in a business sense. Flow being a cycle. If we're taking in new ideas in a business sense, there is a cycle that we can look at that shows the different types of folks who integrate ideas. In a cycle, you have innovators. There's a small percentage of those people who innovate. In the business cycle, you also have early adopters. Now, they take those innovations and they adopt them to their industry or to their product. And then you have the early majority. That early majority are those who have said, hey, we like the idea, we can use this and we can make money at it, basically. Then you have the late majority, those who have realized the qualities of the early adopters, early majority, and the innovators, but perhaps are a little bit on the backside of it. The laggards are those who probably just don't get it. Now we could look at this graph now and see the innovators are basically your outliers. They make up about 2.5% of the public. They say, let me show you what I see as possible. To the other end, the other 16%, where the laggards, or the skeptics, would say, where did I go wrong? How did I miss that? Someplace in between there is a whole lot of people. Your ability to flow fits in kind of these categories. When it comes to innovation and innovative ideas, where do you find yourself? Do you say, I can see it, let me run with it? Or I need to see that it works first? Or, wow, that was a great idea? Or, where did I go wrong? Or are you an outlier who says, let me show you what I see as possible? This is just kind of a rough idea of what it means to flow. Flowing is where you fit into this category. Look, there's lots of opportunities at the moment to be forward thinking. In fact, given the conditions that we're in, it's a necessity to be forward thinking. Where will you flow in the next year, 6 months, 6 years, 10 years? What are the opportunities available to you? If you want to be an outlier, that 2.5% in the head of things, then you're not going to need to be able to flow with ideas that are out there, synthesize, blend ideas, concoct, unify, stir, all the different types of words that would fit into this category of flow are forward-thinking ones. And they enable you to be able to make a difference. So where is it that you see yourself? Where is it that you see yourself in this flow of innovation? Are you an outlier, a visionary? Are you a pragmatist? Are you conservative when you need to be a little bit more visionary? Or are you a skeptic who's going to miss out entirely on the opportunities? Where and when will you adopt and adapt? That is the heart of flow. How you play will make a big difference on your ability to work within that. Now, we're going to do an activity right from the very beginning here. So what I'd like you to do is, to wherever you are, put your hands above your head. All right? Put them up there. Go ahead. Put them up there. Nobody's looking. Ready? Oh, what? What are you doing, Derek? Oh, whoa, whoa, here comes another one. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. You're safe. Even though you may hate roller coasters, this is an opportunity for you to go on one in a... Oh my gosh, this is going to make me sick. Here we go, around again. Oh, hard bend, hard turn, and we're going up. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, see, that wasn't hard. That was play. If you stuck your hands up and you went along with the flow, you actually played. And what you did when you played is a part of your prefrontal cortex activated to enable you to be able to experience that. See, play is oftentimes ascribed to children. children like to play. Do you know what's happening in that developing mind? What's happening in that developing mind as they play, as they're exploring their capacity, their abilities, they're exploring the boundaries that are set for them about what works, what doesn't work, what happens if you drop something, what happens if you pick up something and it's hot. Play is all about discovery, what our capacities are, what our abilities are, what can we do. And doing is the essential manifestation for creation. Pushing our boundaries is play. And there's so many ways that we do it. Play is so much more than fun. Play is about exploring our boundaries. Where can we go? What can we do? I love play. I think play is so important. So while we can manage the risks in play by having our boundaries, having our rules established in them, the thing is that we discover more about ourselves. Play is where we discover the stretchability of our organizations, ourselves as human beings, and we can do that in a managed risk environment. Look, if you want to expand your footprint in this world, you need to learn to play. Ask yourself this fundamental question. It applies across all of them, all of the ways. What is my tolerance for taking risk? Think about it. This is your ability to play. If you say you don't play, then you probably have a minimal tolerance for taking risks. If you play a lot, you have a high tolerance for taking risks because you're exploring new things. You're seeking out opportunities that will give you an ability that will empower you to experience something new and different. So, what is your tolerance for taking risks? I let you think about that for a second because I want to know how you feel about that. Feeling is something that, it was touchy-feely encounter groups of 1980s. That's not what we're talking about. Feel is being in touch with your emotional state. And it comes in handy, if you will, when you're understanding the relationship that you are in, whether they're a working relationship, personal relationship, or that you're developing relationships. Feeling is always central to that. Now, I find it interesting that many people have a great deal of difficulty identifying the feelings that they have. Here is an example of an emotion wheel that, based upon these central emotions, there are expressions of those emotions that span outwardly. And if you are challenged with understanding how you feel, I suggest finding an emotion wheel like this online and using it to help you to identify your feelings. When you do that, it enables you to be aware of the feelings that you have. Now, I happen to like this Plutchik emotion wheel or emotion model because it also allows me as a business person, a speaker, a writer, to be able to identify the combination of emotions that give me the results that I'm looking for. So when you're working to try to help other people, you can work with these emotion wheels to help them to identify the emotions that they're experiencing, or to create an environment where those emotions can be nurtured and developed for their benefit. We're going to do another activity here. This one is a feel activity. There'll be some musical notes to play, and I'd like you to say how each one of them makes you feel. How does this one make you feel? Number one. Number 2, what emotions would you identify with the way this music makes you feel? Number 3, in creating awareness of your own feelings, how does this song make you feel? And the last one. When you hear these notes, what does it evoke in you emotionally? See, that exercise was really just to say we have an emotional state, whether we want to agree with it or not, we do. And things like songs and music and clips, they evoke an emotional response. It's important that you invest in your emotional state and understanding it and being aware of it. It will help you to develop and appreciate an understanding of others, not just yourself. This comes down to the filter of how you be. Being is who you are. It's the central person of you as an individual. It makes up your all life experience. It makes up your value set. When you're talking about being, it comes down to who the person is. Now, when you look into the eyes of another individual, you have to understand that they don't necessarily think like you. In fact, I'll guarantee you they don't think like you. Because their life experiences, even though there may be similarities with yours, is not your life experience. When you look into their eyes, you can't just assume that they are thinking like you do, and vice versa. They can't think like you do. The be part of this, how you be, is allowing yourself and your life experiences and all of the elements that make you valuable. Because you as an individual are valuable. You are important. The qualities that you have are unique to you. And by bringing them forward in the creative process, other people get to experience what your life has evolved to this point so that we can enjoy what you create. Because, I know I've said it before, you are a creative. You have the capacity to create so many wonderful things. And it comes out of who you are as a person. Or how you be. You could be yourself, but that's all you can be. Even if you were pretending to be somebody else, that might be your value, but guess what? You are still being. So I just want to encourage you in this creative endeavor that you would embark on, that you would just learn to be aware of the things that make you you. And be proud of that. Work with it. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Who do you see? It comes down to, in terms of how you be, is what is important to you. Because what is important to you, where your heart is, there will your treasure also be. That's going to be reflected out to the rest of the world of what is important to you. It will expose your values. It will expose your ethos, the cultural orientation that you have, and how you value other people. In the end, the best that you can be is to just be yourself. It's easier to be yourself than to be somebody else because you live with you. I mean, come on. Being yourself is the best thing you can do in the creative process, because out of that flows your creative self. Be yourself. Lastly, in the creative process, a creation is not a creation until you do something with it. Let me ask you a question. How are you remembered? You are remembered by the things that you do. Now, even in an activity is an action, because you are known by not doing things. How you are remembered in terms of what the footprint that you leave is what you do. So creation is making a mark. Look, there's 7.8 billion people on the planet Earth, and each one of those has the ability to demonstrate themselves in a creative way. We can look at this in a business sense, and typically if we were going to do that, we'd be looking at all kinds of marketing tools to find out how to do different things. But I want to ask you a question. How important is it in terms of creativity to answer the question of how many others are in your demographic? If you're a business owner, or you're a small business person, or you're an entrepreneur, how many people fit in your demographic as a creative? There's 7.8 billion people out there. Not all 7.8 billion people are going to be banging a path to your doorstep. So it doesn't really matter how many others are in your demographic. It's establishing your demographic. Or the question of who makes up your audience. In terms of marketing, I realize it's an important question, but really, if the person that you're marketing is you, then it's a matter of connecting with those people who connect with you. This is the doing part. And I know that I've just kind of gone off on a rabbit trail. The purpose of that is this. We can get caught up in all kinds of statistical analysis of things. We can get caught up in all kinds of branding and marketing sidetracks. But really, it comes down to one thing when it is related to your creative capacity. This is so important to get. A creation is not a creation until it is manifest. If you want to make a difference in that 7.8 billion or whatever section of that you have an opportunity to work with, you have to do something. You have to create something that's visible to one person, and then two, and then three, and then four, and then 40, and then 400, and then 4,000. It begins by doing something. Nobody will know who you are as a creative until you do something that demonstrates it. Look, anonymity is reserved for those who don't act. What I want to encourage you to do is to celebrate your individuality, to be you as a person, to add all of these qualities of the creative process into who you are and what you do. I don't care what it is that you do, whether you're an accountant or whether you're a zookeeper. What you do is how you are remembered. That creative flow, that creative edge that you have in that is a demonstration of who you are. And how you do it is your mark. How you do it is a reflection of you as the creative. You are a creative. Like it or not, believe it or not, what you do is create. All right, we've gone through a lot in this session. We looked at how you see. How you see is all the five senses that you're bringing, and then your interpretation of all of the things that you see as an understanding. How you see it really comes down to how you understand. And that's what makes you unique. Your particular understanding of the interpretation of the world around you. Then that we looked at how you tell. Essentially, how you communicate what you understand about the world around you. The different forms that you might use to do it, through perhaps sculpture, through words, through art, through numbers, through sign. So many ways you tell other people what you understand. The value that you place in it and the value they place in it helps you to establish a creative understanding that is visible for others. How you flow is the taking in of data from other people, from other sources, and integrating that into your story, into your narrative. That is the way we become better people, better businesses, better organizations. When we take the ideas or we integrate the ideas that we see around us and we make it ours, and it becomes who we are and part of our experience. How you play with that experience shows your flexibility, your adaptability, and your tolerance for taking risks, even managed risks, so you can see what is possible rather than it just be theoretical. If you play, you get an opportunity to see that it works or if it doesn't work. That's how you play. Or have fun as well. How you feel, both in this creative process and in the various elements of it. It's going to evoke feelings, an emotional state. Being aware of your emotional state and being sensitive to the emotional well-being of others gives you a value in your creation that makes it permanent, makes it something that is owned by you. Your emotional state will seal that deal. How you be is something that doesn't change easily. It's who you are. It's a composite of all of their life experiences, your values, your faith, all of your education. All of that comes into who you are as a person and your personality. How you be is the last filter of your creative process, because how you be is going to remain the same unless you are deliberate in changing that person. Lastly, we looked at how you do. How you do something. How you deliver your creation so that the world can see it is unique to you, or should be unique to you. So look at how you do things that demonstrate your creativity. You have it. You should use it. The world is a big place with lots of opportunities for creation and creativity. You, as a creative, stand at a precipice with the world at your feet. Make the most of it.